Pink Goldfish is really a book about differentiation. How many of you have ever been told you have to differentiate your company? You have to differentiate. So we all know this. I'm not going to teach you this today. I think the assumption is we all know this. Here's the problem. Young Mi Moon wrote a book called Different. It's a great book. You should definitely read it. And she says the number of companies who are truly able to achieve competitive separation is depressingly small. Everyone knows that we're supposed to differentiate our businesses. Very few companies actually do it. And I think one of the reasons that very few companies actually do it is because when other companies are succeeding, those companies are doing things well, those are good companies. And to differentiate would be to do something other than what's good, and so that would probably be bad. They're successful. To not do things that way would make us unsuccessful. What they have is strength. To do something different would be something other, would probably be a weakness. Why would I do that? And so our simple strategy for differentiation is to redefine strengths and weaknesses, to see the downside of your competitor's success, to see how their strengths are weaknesses, and to see how your weaknesses could also be strengths. And then we built a series of strategies and a framework around this. So a great sort of metaphor or analogy for this idea of pink goldfish comes from 15th century Japan. And there was a shogun, and his name was Ashikaga Yoshimasa. And he had a tea bowl, his favorite tea bowl. And he loved this tea bowl, but one day it fell and it broke. He loved it so much, though, that instead of throwing it away, he hired some people to fix it. And they fixed it. The problem is they fixed it in a way, right, to try to make it back to the way it was. Right? In the U.S., at least, we have a phrase like new, just like new. They tried to make it look like it had never been broken. They brought it back to him, and he said, I don't like it. Try again. And this time, make it clear when it's fixed that it was broken. Right? That it was broken. And what they did was they took lacquer and they took gold and they actually highlighted the cracks, they highlighted the repairs, they highlighted the damage and the way it had been fixed. And it looks like this. And it became something of an art form in Japan and now has spread around the world, and the art form is called Kintsugi. And what's unique about Kintsugi is that it illuminates imperfection. It illuminates imperfection. Instead of hiding imperfection, what most of us have been taught to do is in yourself, hide imperfection. In your business, hide imperfection. And not just hide it, but probably fix it. But what would it take to actually not hide it and not fix it, but to actually illuminate it? Here's how powerful this art form became. People started loving Kintsugi so much. Can anybody guess what people started doing with their tea bowls? They started breaking, right? Started breaking them on purpose. Oh, it's damaged now. I guess I need some Kintsugi. When the repair becomes so valuable that people wish their stuff was broken, when people start seeking out something that would otherwise be seen as a negative, now we're starting to move into pink goldfish. Now we're starting to think differently about what good is. It's bad to break things, but now people are breaking things on purpose. It's bad to have old things that are damaged, and now people are highlighting the fact that it has been damaged, right? And so that's the metaphor for today. That's the metaphor for pink goldfish. So what Stan and I did was what he's done with most of his books is we sort of crowdsourced ideas. So we went online, we created a Listly, and we told people, hey, we need examples of companies that are flaunting their weaknesses. We need examples of companies that are using their weaknesses as strengths. And that's kind of hard to do because it's a concept most people don't even understand. And so it was hard for us to get examples, but we ended up gathering about 200 examples. And interestingly enough, I'm on the other side of the world in a country that speaks a completely different language. The person who speaks before me has my same name and uses, of the 3 or 4 extra company examples he used besides his own, was Nurse Next Door. And Nurse Next Door is actually one of the examples in our book. They did something called parketing. And parketing is they have nurses that travel around to people's homes and provide services, and all of their cars are pink. And they're wrapped with all of their information, and when they leave them parked, it's like a traveling billboard, and everything about their company is pink. I got to speak at their conference a couple years ago. The theme of the conference was bold pink. I'm not sure why they picked me, but it worked out great. And I actually was there and chastised them because basically they were dressed just like you, and their entire company is built on pink. And I was like, hey, you people need to take this more seriously, because let's go back to the question, why pink? Their cars were pink, and people would ask, why pink? But then the people weren't committing to it, right? And they were missing an opportunity to be marketing all the time by promoting that pink. So Nurse Next Door is actually one of the examples in the book, and I thought that was interesting that that was already brought up once today.